Hello students, I am Satnam Singh and you are watching my YouTube channel Economics by Satnam Sir. Dear students, in the previous video we have discussed about the condition of Indian economy on the eve of independence part first. And we have discussed the condition of Indian agriculture on the eve of independence and condition of industrial sector on the eve of independence. And in this video we shall be discussing about the uh, improvement in infrastructure on the eve of independence, occupational structure, and positive foreign trade and positive impacts of British rule in India. But before we start this video tutorial, I will recommend to all of you to please subscribe my YouTube channel Economics by Satnam Sir for very more upcoming video tutorials. So let's get start the part 2, first chapter, Indian economy on the eve of independence. Dear students, after learning, the student will able to know that India's foreign trade was monopolized by the British government, ending multinational trade from India. Second point, shift from exporter of finished goods and exporter of raw material and vice versa. Able to know the demographic profile of India and the parameters pointing towards the social backwardness of the country. Know the occupational structure, the condition of infrastructure development, and positive impact of the British rule. Dear students, during colonial period, India has been an important trading nation since ancient times. However, the restrictive policy adopted by the British government adversely affect the structure, composition, and volume of India's foreign trade. The state of India's foreign trade during British rule is discussed as under. First point, India became an exporter of primary products such as raw silk, cotton, wool, sugar, indigo, jute, etc., and an importer of finished consumer goods like cotton, silk, and woolen cloths, and capital goods like light machinery produced in the Britain industry. And second main point is about the trade at the eve of independence is British government maintained a monopoly control over India's export and imports. More than 50% of India's trade was restricted to Britain, while the rest was allowed with few countries like China, Sri Lanka, and Iran. And during this time periods, the opening of Suez Canal in 1869 served as a direct route for the ship operating between the India and Britain. This time periods drain of India's wealth during British rule is explained by the Dadabhai Naroji. Under the British rule, India became an exporter of primary products and importer of finished goods. There was huge export surplus due to excess exports. However, export surplus was used basically to make payments for expenses incurred by an office set up by the colonial government in Britain and to meet expenses on war fought by the British government and to import invisible item. This large export surplus was not used in the welfare of the India. And the next topic is demographic condition. Demographic condition during the British rule exhibited all features of a stagnant and backward Indian economy. First, official census. The first official census was conducted in the year 1881 through suffering from certain limitations. The census revealed unevenness in India's population growth. From 1881 onwards, census operations were carried out after every 10 years. Still continue. In 1921, year of Great Divide is decided. Before 1921, India was in the first stage of demographic transitions, where birth rate and death rates both are very high. The second stage of transition began after 21. In this stage, birth rate increases but the death rate continuously fall. So the year 1921 is described as the year of great divide. 1921 is described as a year of great divide. The demographic condition during the colonial rules is described in the following points. Low level of literacy. The overall literacy level was less than 16%. Out of this, the female literacy level was at a negligible low at about 17%. And important point is inadequate public health facilities. Public health facilities were either unavailable to large chunk of population or when available, there was highly inadequate. Water and airborne diseases were rampant and took a huge toll on life. Infant mortality rate is very high. What is the meaning of infant mortality rate? Infant mortality rate refers to the number of infants dying before reaching 1 year of age per thousand live birth in a year. The infant mortality rate was quite alarming, about 218 per thousand, in contrast to infant mortality rate of 44 per thousand in 2011, and low rate of expectancy. Life expectancy refers to the average number of years for which peoples are expected to live. Life expectancy was very low, 44 years, in contrast to the present 68 years. And a lot of other demographic profiles and conditions are, for example, death rate and birth rate is very high. Birth rate refers to the number of children born per thousand in a year. Death rate refers to the number of people dying per thousand person in a year. Both birth rate and death rate was very high at nearly 48 and 40 per thousand respectively. And next point is the important point of every economy is what is the occupational structure of an economy. Occupational structure refers to distribution of workforce person. Yeah, occupational structure refers to the distribution of working person across different industries and sectors. During the colonial government, during the colonial period, the occupational structure of India showed little sign of change. The state of occupational structure during the British rule can be summarized as under. First point, dominance of primary occupations. The agriculture sector accounted for the largest share of workforce, which usually remained at high to 70 to 75%. The manufacturing and the service sector accounted for only 10 and 15 to 20% respectively. And second important point about occupational structure is regional variation. Another striking aspect was the growing regional variation. The state of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka and Maharashtra and West Bengal witnessed a decline in dependency of workforce on the agriculture sector, with a commensurate increase in the manufacturing and service sector in these states. However, during the same time there had been an increase in the share of workforce in agriculture in state of Orissa, Rajasthan and Punjab. And infrastructures. Infrastructures facilities during the British rule was very poor. Some efforts were made to develop basic infrastructure like road, railways, ports, water transports and telegraphs. But the main motive behind such infrastructure development was to serve various colonial interests. The state of infrastructures as inherited from the British rule is discussed below. For example, road. The colonial administration could not accomplish much on construction of roads due to the scarcity of fund. The road that were built primarily served the interest of mobilizing the army and shifting raw materials. There always remained an acute shortage of all weather roads to reach out to rural areas during the rainy season. As a result, people living in these areas suffered badly during natural calamities and famines. And basically, railways. Railway was basically built. Railways were developed by the Britishers mainly for some reasons. First, to have effective control and administration over the vast Indian country. And second, to earn profits through foreign trade by linking railway with major ports. And the third point is to make profitable investment of British fund in India. This is the main reason for the development of the railways. But the railway, the most important contribution of the British government was to introduction of railway in India in 1950. The railway affected the structure of Indian economy in two important ways, three or four important ways. Railway enabled people to undertake long distances traveled. It broke geographical and cultural barriers and promoted national integrations. It enhanced commercialization of Indian agriculture, which adversely affected the comparative self sufficiency of the village economies in India. And promotion of foreign trade, water and air transports. British government took measures for developing the water and air transport. However, their development was far from satisfactory. And means of communications, posts and telegraphs were the most popular means of communication. The introduction of the expensive system of telegraph, electric telegraph in India served the purpose of maintaining law and order. The postal services, despite serving a useful public purpose, remained all through inadequate. On the eve of independence, British rule, the overall impact of British rule is negative in India. Due to the British rule, India's national income continuously fall, drain of economic wealth, destruction of Indian handicrafts, which will already discuss in the chapter first, part first of this video, lack of modernization of industry, infrastructure development to have a better control, not serve the interest of India, but all the infrastructure development were serve the interest of the Britain, foreign trade framing export of raw material and import of finished goods, and poor demographic indicator. All these indicators explain the condition of Indian economy on the eve of independence was very much negative. But some positive impact of British rule is agenda. The first point is self-sufficiency in food grain production. Commercialization of agriculture initiated by the British government resulted in self-sufficiency in food grain production. And better means of transportation. Development of roads and railways provided cheap and rapid transport system and opened up new opportunities of economic and social growth. Effective administration setup. The British government has an effective administration system which serve as a ready reckoner for the Indian politicians. After independence, it is continue. And fourth point is growth of monetary system. British rule helped Indian economy to shift from barter system to exchange to monetary system of exchange. And fifth point is commercialization of agriculture, which was already discussed in the part first of this video, and control over famines. Roads and railways worked as a great check on the occurrence and impact of famines, as food supplies could be transported to the effective areas in case of drought. To students, this video, the second part is the end of the first chapter. I have in this video we have also include some definitions like literacy rate, death rate, capital goods, birth rate and life expectancy, and maternal mortality rate, per capita income, demographic transitions. Thank you for watching this video tutorials. In the next video, we will discuss about the Indian economy between 1950 to 1990, second chapter of Indian economic development. Thank you very much for watching this video.